Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shalom Aleichem. Brothers and sisters, we made it. We made it. It is Friday. It's been a long week, but here we are, back in that safe place, that safe space, sacred time and space here. It's Friday. I'm excited about it. Psalm, or Tehillim, chapter 19, starting at verse 8, reads as follows. Torat Yehuah Tmima Meshivat Nafesh. Edut Yehuah Ne'emana Mahkimat Pt.2. Pikudei Yehuah Yesharim Mesamhei Lev. Mitzvat Yehuah Bara Meirat Einayim. Verse 10, Yirat Yehuah, the fear of Yehuah, Tehorah, it is pure. Omedet La'ad, and it stands forever. Mishpetei Yehuah Emet, Tzadku Yahdav. The judgments of Yehuah are true, and they are righteous altogether. Verse 11, Hanehmadim Mizahav Umipaz Rav. It is more comely or more desirable than gold, even than much fine or refined gold. Umtukim midvash venofet tsufim. It is sweeter than the honey and the drippings from the comb. A little Tanakh reading. How about something from the Brit Chadashah? Just a little bit of the Brit Chadashah. In Luke chapter 2. Luke chapter 2. And let's take a look at a couple of verses. Starting at verse 10. Okay, this is the announcement of the birth of Yeshua, the Messiah. I think about the announcement of the birth of Yeshua, the Messiah, around about this time, because the parashah, Vayigash, when Yosef makes the big reveal and reveals that he is, in fact, Yosef to his brothers, and they're all shocked, right? They're stuck on literally stupid, because Yosef is so decked in the clothing and in the apparel and in the worldliness of Egypt that he is unrecognizable to his own brothers. Luke chapter 2, verse 10, just a couple of verses. Ulam hamalach amar lahem, and the angel said to them, what did he say to them? He said, where'd it go? There it is. He says, Al tifchadu, don't be afraid. Ki hineni mevaser lachem simcha gdola asher tiye lachem lechol ha'am. Because we bring to you b'sorah, right? We bring these greetings of good news, of good tidings, right? That shall be for all people. Verse number 11, Hayom nolad lachem Moshiach ba'ir David. Today is born to you in the city of David a Moshiach. Not Mashiach, but a Moshiach. Okay, a savior. Hu HaMashiach HaAdon. He is Lord Messiah. Verse 12, Vezelechem ha'ot. Timseu tinok mechutal shochev be'evus. You will find a young baby, a small baby, wrapped in wrapping or in the swaddling clothes and laying inside of a stall bed or a manger, right? Verse 13, Pitom hayu leyad hamalach hamon tzva hashamayim vehema mehalelim et Elohim ve'omrim. And suddenly there were with them a huge contingency of angels, okay, surrounding them, and they were praising the Most High, et Elohim, and saying, Kavod le'Elohim bamromim. Glory to the one and only Elohim, who is in the heights. Uva'aret shalom al bnei adam asher otam ratzah. Peace on earth and among men, goodwill. So I figured I would jump back in here for a brief second, and I would do just a little bit more of, well, a second part, if you would, to the Why Hebrew video that I did the other day. I apologize if you hear a bunch of commotion on the outside. This is East Oakland, and it's not quite, you know, it is what it is. I thank Yahuwah that I have lodging, that I have a place to live, but it can be pretty rough on the other side of that door. Okay, not to mention it's that time of the year, so my neighbors this time of year are always playing their music to the point to where it kind of buzzes the floor and buzzes the windows. So from now up until about, I don't know, January 5th, I've been coming to the door and I've been hearing Silent Night, Holy Night, Merry Christmas from the Temptations. Yeah, well, I can still get down there. So yeah, laugh if you want to. Some of y'all know y'all still got that album. Still be bumping them Temptations. Uh, I'm not your judge. I'm not your judge. So a second part to a Why Hebrew. Again, just to see if I can pique um, the interest of Israel. Pique the interest of Israel with respect to Lashon HaKodesh, to classical Hebrew, the Hebrew of the Bible. Okay? And I have my little portable dry erase again. Thank you, Yahuwah, for good friends and people that are talented. My good friend Deneen, who is a teacher, put these together for us. And yeah. So how about names? Think about names. What's in a name? Think of Yaakov. Yaakov. Yaakov is Jacob, right? And Yaakov, here's Yaakov, and I changed the color of the letters that make up the root of his name. Okay? Yeah, matter of fact, there's a goof right there. I don't need that valve. But I changed the colors of the name or of the letters that make up the root of his name. So Yaakov, at the root of his name is the word Ekev. Ekev, spelled with an Ein, Kof, and a Vet, right? Okay? And Ekev literally means heel, like the heel of your foot. Okay, but it also means as a consequence of or because of. Okay, um, it is it is used with respect, almost as if kind of like but maybe, or the Hebrew word davka, but it means as a result of or as a consequence of. Okay, who wants to be called a heel in any time frame in any culture? Being called a heel is not a good thing. But of course, we know that he was given this name because he reached out and he grabbed the heel of his brother Esau. Okay, but then what did the Most High change our father Yaakov's name to? Okay, because Akev is also associated with slanted or crooked. Okay, so it's literally a heel. Okay, or it also means as a consequence of or as a result of, but it's also associated with something slanted or crooked. So the Most High changed his name to Israel. Israel. He changed his name from Yaakov to Israel. Israel. And the root of his name Israel, you have the word sar. Sar, which means to struggle. It's also associated with hierarchy, a position in a hierarchy, such as like a prince. So, in his struggling with the Most High, with his struggling with the Most High and prevailing, struggling in a sense with the Most High and prevailing, he attained the status of prince or prince type status. Okay, but even more than that, if you look simply if you take out, no offense, the word El, which means, okay, the English word God, you know, you're only left over with the word Yashar. Yashar, which means straight, straight or upright. This is why you read in the Nevi'im or the prophets, it says that Yeshurun has grown fat. Okay? Yeshurun has grown fat. Yeshurun, Yeshar, Yeshurun is the upright one, and it's a name that's given for Yaakov. So we see that Akev, as I told you a minute ago, is associated with slanted or crooked. Yashar is straight and upright. Okay? Again, these may be things you know already. The intent is not to wow anyone. The intent is to pique interest. How about this word? You know, there's a um, secular group back in the day that recorded this song called War. Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Okay, and in this case, I'm writing for you a word that you don't really have to necessarily guess. But again, I highlighted the root. I highlighted the root of the word. This is the industrial machine that goes through and plows through countries and destroys homes and destroys lives and destroys infrastructure in modern times and even in ancient times as well. In ancient times, it brought about plunder and depravity on a much deeper level, which still sadly happens today. Just period that milchama or milhama, war. Wars are waged, okay? And we have the blessed hope and the assurance that when Melech HaMashiach, when he returns, that he will put an end to all war. But if you look at the word milchama or milhama, at its root, there is a word. Okay, every Hebrew word has a shoresh or a root. Okay, in most cases, it's a three-letter root. And the root, believe it or not, the root of the word war, milchama, is lechem. It's bread, you guys. Bread. Now you might think to yourself, what in the world type of sense does that make? The root of the Hebrew word war or milchama is lechem, bread. Okay, well, when you think of bread, you often think of things more benevolent, like what is the name of the town where Yeshua, the Messiah, was born? Bethlehem. Bethlehem, okay? Bethlehem, house of bread. The house of bread. He was born in Bethlehem, the house of bread. Why? Okay, it was small. One of Ephrata, the smallest of all the clans, okay, in Judea, but out of you will he come to me, who will be ruler. We find this in the prophet Micah's book, the prophet Micah. Okay, but the running theme from cover to cover in our Holy Scriptures is that the Most High takes the small thing that no one would regard, and he elevates it. He takes the crooked and he makes it straight. So, Bethlehem, house of bread. He's also the bread of life, Yeshua. He says he's the bread that came down from heaven. So, how is it that bread, can be at the root of the word war? Milchama. Milchama. Okay, so the Hebrew word for bread, lechem, okay, bread, it's not bread only, though. If you go further back into biblical Hebrew and into its brother sister Semitic languages, you will find that lechem often proves to be more than just bread. Man cannot live by bread alone, literally. Okay, literally. Got to throw a little meat in there somewhere. So the Arabic word for meat is lachme or lahme. Lechem, lahme. Lechem, lachme. And as you can see, they are virtually the same word. Okay, so wars this monstrous event takes place, and at the root of wars are waged in order to gain lechem, or to gain substance, and or to gain sustenance. Okay? And even in modern times, you can still see that ultimately there is no war really to free anyone or bring anyone liberty or democracy. More than likely, we want their lechem, or we want that thing which is valuable that we can take from them and buy lechem, okay, like their natural resources, their whatever, okay. So yeah, bread, sustenance, or food, meat, it's at the root of the word war, milchama, milchama. So how about mysteries? How about mysteries? Or things that people can't quite figure out, but yet when they're given the questions, or when the question is posed to them, instead of saying, I don't know, or let me get back to you, they wax eloquent and they come up with some hocus pocus type of answer. A couple of mysteries. Okay. A lot of you out there, I'm pretty sure, are very sharp, and you probably know the answer to this. But how about in Genesis, or Bereshit, chapter 19, verse 24? Bereshit, chapter 19, verse 24. Okay. Just to refresh your memory, this is where Abraham, our father, Abraham Avinu, he was visited by the three men. Okay, at the beginning of chapter 18, it starts out saying that Abraham was sitting bepetach ohel, in the opening of the tent, kechomayom, in the heat of the day. Vehine shlosha nashim nitzavim alav. Three men are standing over him or coming in his direction, right? He runs to meet them. You know the story. But he proceeds to walk. He does some lobbying to try to save lives, okay, because literal HE double hockey sticks are getting ready to fall on the cities of Sodom and Amorah, okay? But in verse 24, listen to this, okay? Leave me a comment in the comment section. Because again, you may know the answer, or you might have some interesting input on it. So Genesis chapter 19, verse 24 reads as follows. It says, Vayehuah himtir al Sodom ve'al Amorah gafrit ve'esh. Me'et Yehovah min hashamayim. Now, I called the sacred name twice in the same verse. Literally, it translates as follows, okay? It says, the Yehovah, and Yehovah, himtir, rain down, al Sodom ve'al Amorah, on Sodom and Gomorrah, gafrit ve'esh. So gafrit is sulfur and fire. Gafrit ve'esh. Me'et, from Yehovah min hashamayim. So Yud He Vav He, rain down, gafrit and esh, sulfur and fire, from Yud He Vav He, from out of heaven. Almost seems like a third person reference. Why did Moshe choose to word this way? Or why was he commanded to write it this way? Okay. Seems a little odd, right? Okay. How about another? How about another final one? Okay. This is found in Isaiah chapter 56. Okay. Yeshayahu Perek Nun Vav. Isaiah chapter 56. And if you take a look at let's see, Isaiah 56. And if you take a look at verse number, where is it? Where is it? Sorry about that. Bear with me for a second. When I saw you on the video the other day, I told you I need some glasses. And yeah, I need to quit saying it and get them. But they make these cool, again, I showed it the other day, these cool Bibles. The Hebrew, I forget what they're called. What are they called? They are called, I should be looking for the verse, but they are called the HaChevre Lechadveh Kodesh B'Yisrael. They are called uh, the Fellowship of Sacred Writings in Israel. And they make um, this awesome Tanakh and Brit HaChadashah together, all in Hebrew. I just wish that for graybeards like me, that they would give brothers some letters that are a little bit bigger. Okay, help me out. I'll find this. Okay, in Isaiah chapter 56, and oh, here we go. And the verse number is number. Oh, this is terrible. Oh, there it is. Verse number 7. Okay. The Most High is talking about the eunuch. He's talking about the foreigners who should never say that they are strangers, that if they love his covenant, if they love his Shabbats, and they keep their hands and feet from doing that which is evil, that he would bring them in. And he speaks lofty words about them, right? He speaks lofty words about them if they will grasp his covenant. In verse 7, however, he says this. After he says all of the wonderful things about them, in verse 7, he says, Vehaviotam el har kadshi, and I will bring them to my holy mountain. Okay? Vesemachtim bevet tfilati, and they will rejoice in the house of my prayer. Wait a minute. Does Yahuwah pray? And if he prays, why does he need to pray? What could he possibly need to pray for? But this is what it says in Isaiah chapter 56, verse 7. When you read it in the original, it says, Vehaviotim el har kodshi. I will bring them to my holy mountain. Okay? Usimachtim bevet tefilati. And they will rejoice in the house of my prayer. Okay? In the house of my prayer. And then he goes on down to the part where Yeshua quotes after he flips over the table at the end of this same verse. He says, and they will bring their offering, and they will offer their offerings on my offering, on my altar. Leratzon al mizbechi, ki beti beit filati yikra'e lechol ha'amim, because my house will be called the house of prayer to all nations. But he literally calls it a couple of sentences earlier, the house of my prayer, bevet tefilati. How's that for a mystery? There's an answer, but how's that for a mystery? At any rate, again, I just wanted to offer a couple of insights on a couple of words and a couple of mysteries, okay? Mysteries, something to ponder, things that you cannot see in the English that you will find in our sacred writings, okay? I'm rocking the Hebrew San Francisco Giant shirt, okay? It says Anakim, Anakim. Okay, you should remember this from the Torah, this particular name, right? Because the Hebrew word for a giant is Anak, spelled with an Ayin, a Nun, and a Kof, right? Who was Anak? Anak was actually a person, right? Leftover Nephilim, okay? He was the giant who had 3 sons, okay? And the city was named after them. The city was called the City of the Four, or in Hebrew it's called Kiryat Arba or Hebron. Kiryat Arba, Hebron, the City of the Four. Anak and his 3 sons, okay, were giants, okay, literally giants. So yeah, that's it, folks. I'm wishing you all a Shabbat Shalom, and that is sweet, and that it's restful, and that you get recharged. You can hear a little word um, um, that gives you more light, that brings more light to the heart, to the soul. I pray that Abba will bless you all, bless us all, and keep us in the dark time that we're living in with pandemics, with the pandemic, and with everything else that's going on around us. Um, we need all the help that we can get right now. So with that, I will bid you good night, and I look forward to seeing you again in future videos. And I'm excited um, to build with some folks, to build with you out there, brothers and sisters in the community, um, who want to go after this language and get it and master it, write our own publications, write our own commentaries on scripture, write our own poetry, our own whatever. The sky is ultimately the limit. Okay. Be blessed, brothers and sisters. And I'll see you soon.